Greetings, I am Achak Eil, better known as Christopher Antonio Archer, and this is my statutory declaration for public notice that was delivered to the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Ralph Northam, on February 24, 2021 of the Gregorian calendar. I was shocked to discover that the registration of a live birth was a contract between my mother and the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that she was unknowingly selling me a flesh and blood child as chattel property or slave to the Commonwealth of Virginia. I, Christopher Antonio Archer, now known as Achak Eil, of Suffolk, Virginia, 23434, do solemnly declare, in accord with the 1931 Statute of Westminster, 1778 Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union, Article 11, 1812 Treaty of Ghent, 1794 Jay Treaty, 1836 Treaty of Marrakesh, Morocco, all recognized and valid treaties, Constitution for the United States of America, the 1948 Charter of the United Nations, Pope's Apology to Indigenous Peoples, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, UNDRIP, the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and the UN International Decade for People of African Descent, that upon discovering that the registration of live birth on June 2nd, 1991, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Virginia Republic, was a contract between my mother and the Commonwealth of Virginia, who did not tell her she was selling me, a flesh and blood child, to the Commonwealth of Virginia as their chattel property, slave, which is a violation of human rights. I hereby void the contract ab initio for fraud. I am an autochthon flesh and blood male of Meherrin descent, in accord with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and HJR 194, United States Senate Apology to African Americans for Slavery, U.S. Apology to the Native Americans, H.R. 3326, Department of Defense Appropriations Act, and Regina versus Ja. On May 14, 2011, at Southwark Crown Court, defendant John Anthony Hall in the United Kingdom proved before an English jury that Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, Mountbatten, Battenberg, Saxe-Coburg was not the rightful monarch and never was. Queen Elizabeth is not the rightful monarch and never was. This was a two-part argument. First, that Elizabeth knew both then and now that she was crowned on a fake coronation stone instead of the real stone of destiny, coronation stone, which meant not only was she never properly crowned, but secondly, she was also knowingly and fraudulently conning the public, and that is why she didn't want her coronation televised. I declare that the name Christopher Antonio Archer on the registration of live birth is a corporation, and Achak Eil is an autochthon, flesh and blood male of Meherrin descent. I am not a corporation, artificial person, natural person, fictitious entity, or vessel of the United States defined under the Title 18 U.S.C. 9, and I give the notice internationally, domestically, universally, via this declaration that I deny corporate existence. Under reservation of all my rights, unalienable and otherwise, I am an autochthon, indigenous of the planet, and I make this solemn declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, and that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath. Here's my green card as proof of delivery. You can see it right there. The cover letter. To Governor Ralph Northam. This is my statutory declaration. Including all of the attachments. If you would like to claim your white status and your indigenous to top understanding, you can contact Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil on Mondays at 7 p.m. at the White Time webinar at aspwebinar@protonmail.com. Abu Gador, white power, white power.